Hi y'all, Renee here, and today I have a card share for you. I made these 3 cards using our stitched quilt shapes and our stitched square frames. And I used this fun little stamp set. It's a very small stamp set, but it packs a lot of stuff in it, and I didn't even use but a couple things. It has some great sentiments, little stitch lines, a needle, and so I love these stitched hearts, and this line actually has a heart in the stitched heart. So I really like the stamp set. It's really fun, and it can really be used for a lot of different things. What I thought I would make is some cards for encouragement, also some sympathy type cards. So I'll just start with this first one, and this first one was really fun. What I did was I looked in I'm a quilter, and so I looked in my quilt block books. I have a bunch of books with blocks in it, and saw, okay, what can I make with these shapes? And I love these shapes because they give you the stitching lines. Now the stitching lines you can see through a little bit, so if you wanted to make those a different color, I created this on a piece of just copy paper. Put my piece together and then cut it out. You could also use a piece of black paper if you wanted to show black through there. I thought the white looked really nice to blend with the white background. But what I used for this one is I used this die right here, and then I used both of these triangle dies. So you can see that the chevron, I just did 4 of them, put them on point, and then just put small triangles in the corners, and then the larger triangles at the tops and the sides. Then I just cut a piece of white paper to match the white paper that I have for the rest of the card so that it's consistent, and just stamped one of the sentiments in the crazy quilt of life. I'm glad you're in my block of friends. So went ahead and stamped that with one of the stamps from the stamp set. And then this ribbon behind here is actually just a piece of ribbon that I had left over from a project. It doesn't take very much. And even if you had even a smaller piece than I did, you could cut it and then just put it on each side with a little wrap. I did have enough to go across on all 3 of my cards. And then I placed the everything on a card base that measures, let's see, what did I cut it at? I cut it at, let's see, 4 inches, I think by 5 1/4. Yeah, so the base here is 4 inches by 5 1/4, and then I put it on an A2 size card, which is 5 1/4 by 4 1/2. And I raised it up on a little bit of foam dimensional. You're not able to see it, but I thought that gave it a little bit more of a change because it is a white base on a white base. So that's card number 1. The next card, I had a lot of fun with this one. This one says, sending you comfort during this difficult time. That's the same stamp set that I showed you before, and the same ribbon. I did the same technique with the white base on a white card base, white mat on a white card base. And this one was made using these stitched square dies. And what happens when you use the stitched square die is it gives you a border, which is this purple part, that's the border, and then the inside also cuts out, and that gives you this square here with the stitch lines. So I have stitched lines on my border, and I have stitched lines on my base here. So I did that in 2 different colors, so in the eggplant and the black. And then I used I can't remember the name of this paper right here, so sorry. If you're interested, let me know and I'll look it up. I used the small triangles here on these 4 corners, and then for the center, I used this small stitch square, and then hopefully you can see the design, and this design is made with this die. This, and this one, all they do is indent the stitching lines. They don't actually cut edges. So you can use those inside other pieces to create designs inside those pieces. And that's what I did for that one. And all of these cards are just blank inside. And then for my 3rd card, again, I used the sending you comfort during this difficult time. And what I did for this one is I used not only this size of the square, stitch square die, but I also used this one. And how I did this one is I cut this medium size, and all I did was use the border. I didn't use the inside piece. I actually used, this is the inside piece from this border. So I just used those two pieces. Then I cut another piece of black using this. After that, I cut this color with this die here and used, again, I just love this stitching pattern, so I used that one. And then this time I used the larger of the triangles. And how I set this all up is I put the border on the outside, fit in these 4 corners. Then I placed this border that came from this small die, I placed it down, and then I put the center piece back in just so it would have a little tiny bit of a border, because this piece here from the stitched quilt die is just a little tiny bit smaller than the interior piece on this one. So by laying it on top, then that camouflaged the fact that it wasn't quite the same size. And even looking at it, I don't think you'd be able to tell. So that's that one. And I had a really good time playing with these. I'm looking forward to making some more of these quilt patterns. I have some ideas for some scrapbook pages to capture the memories of some of the quilts that I've made. And I think it would really be fun to use some of these stamps in that layout. So I hope you liked the card share today. If you have any questions, you want to see a little bit more in depth on how I put them together, let me know. I wasn't sure if that would be, really interesting for anybody. So I thought a card share would be better with this particular technique. So have a great day, and thanks so much for watching.